you should know that by being a racing driver, you are under risk all the time. And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver. Because we are competing to win. And the main motivation for all of us is to compete for a victory. It's not to come third, fourth, fifth, or sixth. I race to win, as long as I feel it's possible.
Up in the fifth when they go.
It's interesting because part of the problem with predicting the future is you can't even take into account what the federal government's going to do, what the state governments are going to do, what are geopolitical events are going to force us into a different world. What happens if 5 years down the road, we find ourselves back where we were in 2018 or 2019? Technology has magically made things a lot cheaper, faster, better. If you find yourself in that environment, well, what would make a lot of sense is you would reevaluate your decision. And that's exactly what businesses do. All of you, right, are in the business world. You know exactly this is what you do. So you, unfortunately, would have to start this process over. You'd have to re-engage in an IRP because an IRP will give you different results. Maybe small modular reactors are actually achievable. That would be a natural conclusion. Maybe the hydrogen economy has reached us. You know, now combined cycles can be carbon free. I don't know when that's going to happen, but the future is always changing. So when you found yourself in a situation where you wanted to reevaluate it, we'd redo the IRP. We would redo the MISO transmission membership assessment. We would redo the transmission analysis. We would re-engage an RFP process because we would then want to get real world pricing for the information that was handed. We'd go through this process again. So that's what it would take. And that's what businesses and reasonable people would do to try to manage this.
Shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection.
This has been the vibe I've received while proposing a hydrogen economy as a carbon neutral solution to our energy transition. 10 years ago, Mazda predicted that by 2020, over 90% of our cars will still use internal combustion engines. As of 2020, transportation accounts for 17% of our greenhouse gas emissions, while electricity accounts for 20%. Among the 2021 vehicles sold in California, internal combustion engines account for 98% of sales. Battery electric vehicles account for 2% of sales, and only 8,000 fuel cell electric vehicles are on the road, most of whom are the Prius-derived Toyota Mirai that sold 6,727 units. Now with the Lexus makeover, the Mirai has more than doubled its North American sales. Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai have taught us that you can build world-class hydrogen cars, but the limiting factor has always been the 54 hydrogen stations in California versus the 5,000 supercharging stations. Given these statistics, the car community understands why Hydroformance aims to convert existing cars to hydrogen. The environmental organizations in Memphis did not understand until Chris Dawson from GDS Associates Incorporated recommended MLGW to pursue a long-term partnership with TVA unless small modular nuclear reactors are achievable or the hydrogen economy has reached us. Since 2006, the Hydrogen House in New Jersey has demonstrated the feasibility of a hydrogen economy. The Kemetic Energy Network returns to the Sierra Club to inform how hydrogen storage will support our transition to renewable energy and prove that Memphis has the power always. Nationwide, if our government mandated electric vehicles, we must double our charging station network and improve our grid capacity by 30%, despite our overall renewable energy infrastructure is 75% underfunded. This is how fossil fuel companies like Valero and TVA have stronghold on Memphis. GDS claims the long-term partnership recommendation will save our customers $37 per year, but investing in renewable infrastructure will cost $100 more per year. The upfront costs are overdue. Please invest wisely. While TVA has placed their bets on nuclear energy, increasing their nuclear power from 26% in 2007 to 40% by 2018 and up to 43% by the end of their 2028 contract, TVA has limited solar output from 3 to 5%. On the other hand, California has increased their solar output to 19% from 2010 through 18. During a sunny day in California, up to 35% of their energy was generated by renewable energy. 51% of that was solar. However, up to 190 megawatt hours of solar energy is wasted daily from lack of storage. The solar energy wanes off between 4 and 9 p.m. when people come home from work and charge their electric vehicles. The increased power demand activates natural gas power plants. Under stress, electric cars may not be charged by this grid from 4 to 9 p.m., so gasoline generators are hitched to the back of Teslas to charge them.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Battery packs such as the Tesla Powerwall complement solar homes at small scale, but at larger scale power plants, hydrogen storage is more advantageous. At 40 kilowatt hours per kilogram, hydrogen stores 238 times more energy per mass than lithium-ion batteries that are known to either degrade over time or in cold climates. Hydrogen tanks, however, do not have these problems. The hydrogen house also repurposed large propane tanks into hydrogen tanks that store enough solar energy for the winter months, replace natural gas for cooking and heating, refuel a hydrogen car in 5 minutes, or recharge an EV. Whether you prefer hydrogen or electric cars is not as important as the emissions produced to generate electricity, or preferably green hydrogen. Somewhere between West Virginia and California is TVA, where their big three are coal, natural gas from Trunkline and Texas Gas, and nuclear. Apparently, if TVA secures the long-term partnership, they will focus on nuclear. For this presentation, we will ignore nuclear and focus on emissions from fossil fuels. Given coal emits 1.142 kilograms of CO2 per kilowatt hour, natural gas emits 0.572 kilograms of CO2 per kilowatt hour, and gasoline emits 9.07 kilograms of CO2 per gallon. Let's compare Big Baby, a 2004 F-150 powered by a 4.62 valve V8, to the 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning. When Big Baby averaged 25 miles per gallon highway, it emitted 362.8 grams of CO2 per mile. A standard range F-150 Lightning is rated at 61 mpg equivalent, which translates to 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Charging that F-150 in West Virginia would generate 596.3 grams of CO2 per mile, TVA 227.3 grams of CO2 per mile, and California 137 grams of CO2 per mile. Currently, the F-150 Lightning will narrowly emit less CO2 per highway mile than its gasoline counterpart. When hydroformance converts Big Baby into hydrogen, things get interesting. In 2003, Ford has recorded a 40% mileage improvement when they converted their Focus to hydrogen. Hydroformance also uses a lean burn tune to further improve mileage by 30% while minimizing NOx emissions. Big Baby would achieve 45 miles per kilogram of hydrogen. Hydrogen can be produced by steam methane reforming or preferably by electrolysis. Each kilogram of gray hydrogen produced by natural gas will emit 6 kilograms of CO2. You'll need 2.5 gallons of water and 65 kilowatt hours of electricity, preferably from solar, to electrolyze hydrogen from water and compress it into a tank. If TVA's current grid is used to produce the hydrogen, 27 kilograms of CO2 will be emitted per kilogram. While it is more expensive right now to simply exchange the hydrogen tanks at NextAir, 4.5 times less CO2 would be emitted, assuming NextAir uses natural gas to produce their hydrogen. In conclusion, on-site production of green hydrogen by renewable energy is the best solution for hydrogen transportation infrastructure.
You have the power to make this a better deal. We have the power to make a difference. And you have the power, board members, to negotiate from a position of power.